Hello and welcome to The Last Tackle. Two very special guests in the studio. We've got a former world champion in Adrian Morley and we've got a current world champion in Alex Walmsley. Gents, thanks for coming. Alex, I can start with you. First of all, how's the fitness?
Yeah, good. Obviously gutted to miss out on a few big games recently, but yeah, hitting all my targets. A couple more weeks and I'll be flying, I think. So looking forward to getting obviously back into the team and helping the boys out.
A hamstring injury?
Yeah, hamstring. Yeah, I didn't realise I had hamstrings until I got to 30. I didn't think props had them, but yeah, it was an annoying little one. I think it was. I've been carrying a bit of an infection in my leg, and I think it's just. Yeah, it just got the best of me, unfortunately. But yeah, it's going really well. Rehab's been great. It's perfect as it could be, really. So trying to make the most of having a few weeks out to let the rest of the body repair and recover.
And obviously been a frustrating few months for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, look, we've not had the greatest of starts as a team. I think that's clear. Obviously, started off amazing. You know, let's be honest. But I think to have hit the period we've hit has been quite frustrating. But you know, we're not worried. We're not too concerned. Obviously, we've had 4 amazing years, and we've kind of just took the league back by storm these last few years. And what we're going through now is quite a normal thing. You know, you go through patches, you go through bits of sticky bits of form. Obviously, injury crisis. Well, I won't say crisis, but we've had a few injuries as well to add to it. So, look, we're just going through the normal rigours of what a normal rugby league season goes through, and we'll come out of it hopefully pretty soon, and we're back to hopefully the form what we've expected.
We'll talk about the start of Super League season tomorrow, but let's start with that World Club Championship. Right, first of all, let's get a view from 20 years ago. That's when you won it, 2003, and you beat St Helens that year.
Yeah.
One of your career highlights, wasn't it?
Oh, without a doubt, and it was great for me personally because I got to represent the Sydney Roosters, who I was playing for at the time in Australia, in England, and it was at Bolton, just up the road from me, and we stayed in Salford, we stayed at the Marriott there, so it was great for me. All my family come to watch, and we got the win. We beat Saints, but we did a right job, and then we beat them 38-0 actually, and I actually got a try that day, so it was...
Must have been poor Saints.
That's right. But I remember for 20 minutes, there was nothing in the game. It was neck and neck, and Saints actually got a try disallowed. I think Paul Newlove, it was a forward pass, but then as soon as we got our noses in the front, we ran away with it. But the scoreline didn't reflect how tough it was, particularly for the first 40 minutes. But we had a pretty strong squad at the time, captained by the great Brad Fittler. So it was great for me personally, and I got to show my teammates, my Aussie teammates, the sights of Salford and the Trafford Centre and all that. We actually got tickets for Man United v Man City derby game, so the lads got to see 70,000 mad Mancunians screaming at Old Trafford, and a great experience for them and a great experience for me personally.
You did it in Australia. That make it more special?
I think so, yeah. Look, I think whenever the Aussie teams have come over here for the World Club Challenge, there's always been that excuse of, well, they've had to travel, they've had to deal with the English weather, the pitches and things like that, and obviously our referees and other stuff. So, to go over there to their backyard, do it in, obviously at that home ground, with their referees, with their conditions, we've had to do with the travel, the jet lag, the disruption, we've had to do everything what they kind of have to endure coming over here. To have done that and then still get the job done against, let's be honest, a Penrith side who have,
a very good Penrith side.
For 2 years straight been untouchable in the NRL. So, to do it on their patch, for me, makes it that much special. Obviously, I know the last time an English side gone over there and did it was in Wigan in the early 90s, and I think the sport's changed drastically since then. The NRL's changed so much since then in terms of where they are as a competition, the finances, the infrastructure that they've got there now compared to us. Look, it was an amazing game. It was a tough game. We knew we had to be our best, and thankfully we was. And for me, it was one of the, in particular, Saints' history and Super League's history, I think one of the greatest results we've got.
What were you thinking when Penrith scored that late try? You thinking, have we blown it?
For a second, perhaps, but look, I think what we've got instilled in us as a team, in our DNA, is that we're used to big moments and big games now. Like I said before, we've had 4 really good years. We've played in the biggest of games, and we've played in them consistently now for 4 years. So for a brief second, there was a moment of I suppose, gutting feeling because you're thinking the game's done. You know, with 79 minutes in, we've completely not dominated, but you know, we've competed really well and putting ourselves in a winning position where we should see it out. To then find ourselves behind the sticks going into extra time. You know, there was obviously a split second, but you know, we put that to bed straight away. We were going into, you know, extra time, golden point, anything can happen, and you know, thankfully, you know, we have a good set leading up to Connie causing a great tackle and causing the ball to come loose, and you know, Lewis Dodd at such a young age, big hitter moments, slots over a drop goal, and yeah, look, really proud of the team and the efforts that we did there. You know, we'd gone over there, we got wrote off. You know, the famous sort of full goal tweet and things like that was echoed.
Did you have it up in the dressing room?
No, we didn't need to. We didn't need to be honest, and we didn't kind of talk about it at all because, you know, he was just one of many, I suppose. I think he was one who come out in the public and sort of said it verbally, but behind the doors, you know, behind closed doors, behind, you know, the rest of the NRL and I suppose the Australian public didn't give us a chance. As much as they probably wanted us to win, especially the neutrals, yeah, they didn't give us a chance. So look, we're very proud of what we've done. Yeah, look, for me, it's my greatest achievement as part of this side, and something I will definitely cherish.
What were the celebrations like?
Do you know what? It wasn't as hectic as you'd imagine, to be honest. We were.
You had a hell of a trip home, didn't you?
We had a hell of a trip home, a 54-hour journey home, thanks to some questionable flights. I'll leave it that one there. Yeah. But yeah, you know, look,
it's normal to go via Stockholm.
Yeah, Stockholm and Bangkok and Heathrow, as well as the coast journey. It was an experience. Look, I think to come back though with a trophy, you know, made it all worthwhile. It really was, and again, genuinely, I say it with a smile on my face because it was such a proud moment for us as a team and a collective, and you know, we don't often get to stick it to the Aussies, so you know, to actually be able to do that on their patch was something special.
I'll bring you in a moment, Moz. Something I want to discuss. A lot of people have been discussing Saints' form. Obviously, you've lost 4, which is unheard of at this stage of the season, the standards you've been setting. A lot of people have been saying that Saints' form is because you peaked for that World Club Challenge. How would you react to that?
Look, there's always a numerous of factors going into games and I suppose form. Do I think we peaked at the start of the year? I mean, what's a peak, to be honest? Because I think, you know, a season's like a roller coaster. There's always ups and downs. Look, we started incredible. I think, was there a hangover effect? Perhaps. I think, can we say there's a hangover effect now? No. You know, I think that's been done. It's put to bed now. It's definitely now past, and we're concentrating on the current form. But look, I mentioned it at the start. I think what we're experiencing is something what teams normally experience throughout any rugby league season. You go through tough times. You go through periods where you're not quite hitting the standards what you expect. I think it's probably magnified as much as it is with us because of the successes we've had in recent years. And I think we'll get a few bodies back in the next few weeks. I think the boys, what we've got in at the minute, you know, I think there's still a good squad there who are capable of picking up results and getting wins. I think that's probably been the frustrating thing that we've had as a team, is that we still haven't delivered to our standards despite people missing. So look, we haven't peaked. I think where we're heading as a squad is the same we've been heading for the last few years. You know, we know what we're capable of, but first and foremost, you know, we need to get back to playing well, which happens, which will come through training and will come through working hard.
Yeah.
They've won 4 on the bounce.
Yeah, well,
they've won 4 grand finals on the bounce, which has never been done before.
So I think they're being judged now on just how successful they have been in the last 4 years. St Helens have been the benchmark in Super League for 4 or 5 years. It's very hard to stay at that level, and just because they're having well, I say it indifferent, but it's only because they've been that good the last couple of years. They've only lost 3 or 4 games. It's not.
Won 4, lost 4.
Yeah, it's not. You know, it's certainly not an end of the world material. As Alex says, a lot of clubs go through this, and just because they have been that good, they will get better. You know, the injuries have played a part. Form, you know, does play a part as well. So they will get better, and you know, it's not how you start. It's not where you are in the middle of the season. It's how you finish, and I'm very confident the Saints will have something to say, you know, in the playoffs and the grand final.
Right, let's talk about last week's results very, very quickly. We're a third of the way through the Betfred Super League season. Salford won again on Thursday night. That's their 5th win.
Yeah.
Your old club.
Yeah, I thought it was a great win because I thought Castleford's defence was very, very good. Salford's attack probably wasn't as fluent as it has been, but I still thought they were the worthy winners against Castleford on Thursday, and it's another 2 points, and they're just going about the business, picking up the wins, so well done Salford.
And on Friday, obviously you were involved. The loss to Hull KR, that's 4 wins on the bounce for Hull KR. Mikey Lewis playing really well.
Yeah, he's an exciting player. Obviously, I know he's been called up to the England squad as well, which for me is fully deserved. I think he's an exciting player. He's someone who can change a game, which you want in a half-back. But, you know, obviously, Hull KR have a good side as well. It's always a tough place to go to. It's a hostile environment with the fans. And I think they'll continue the good form at the minute. I know we were disappointed with some aspects of our performance, but you know sometimes
you started well, didn't you?
We did, and you know I think the frustrating thing about the performance was we conceded tries what were quite uncharacteristic, which you know we've addressed and spoke about. But sometimes you've got to give credit to the opposition. I think they're playing very well at the minute, and I'm expecting them to keep winning. To be honest.
Huddersfield won, that's their 4th win. Big performance from Huddersfield as well against Catalans, 26-14, because they had been a bit inconsistent this term, Huddersfield.
Yeah, they had. I think, you know, as well against a Catalan side who, for me, have been going under the radar a little bit, perhaps just due to them not being on the sky as much as what they have been in the past. So they've been going about the business, picking up the win. So to pick up a good result against a Catalan side who are going to be thereabouts at the end of the season is a good turn for Huddersfield. Under Ian Watson, you know, they were very good side. They play a style of rugby what's hard to play against, and you know, look, I think they'll probably kick on again, and you know they'll definitely be there.
Moz, Leeds were very inconsistent. Now they've won 3 of the last 4, beating Hull 34-10. Your old coach Tony Smith won the first 2. Now that's 7 defeats on the bounce.
Yeah, but
you back Tony to turn it round.
I do. I certainly do. You know, he's a tried and tested coach, and even looking at that result, you'd think it'd be disappointed, but I think that's an improvement from Hull. And I said a couple of weeks ago, it's all about performance rather than the result. And I think even though they got beat by 34 points to 10, I think he'll see that as a positive, and he'll just start the building blocks going. And I expect them to come good later on in the season. But another good win for Leeds at home, and it is a work in progress for Tony Smith. But as I say, I think it's a step in the right direction.
And the first defeat, Warrington, what a cracking game.
Yeah, cracking game, and I think the crowds have been really...
record crowd, yeah.
Record crowd, really healthy over Easter, and you know, a record crowd for the Wolves there, and the game didn't disappoint. It was a typical Wigan-Warrington derby, and had everything. It was very tough, very intense. I thought Wigan were worthy winners in the end, but it was... you know, Warrington had the chances and a couple of tries disallowed, but I thought it was a great game, great atmosphere, and that's what Super League's all about.
And finally, Saturday at Wakefield 0, Lee Leopards 32. Wakefield still searching for their first win. It's 9 defeats on the spin. How worried are you for Wakefield?
Oh, very worried. You know, anyone involved in the club, spectators, owners, would be extremely worried at the minute. I think there was 4 or 5 people on loan who played at the weekend, and it's not great when you're getting lads on loan. It's it doesn't add to the cohesion in the group, and you know, Lee, you would think they at home, you'd think they thought there's a chance of getting a result here, but to be nilled, you know, 30 odd points put past you, and there is no easy games in Super League, as we know, but they've got Wigan away next week, so you know, I think it's dire at the moment for Warrington, so they need to... Sorry, for Wakefield, so they need to...
it's quite good for Warrington.
Right, that's good for
last season.
Yeah.
That's when you were sat there last year,
exactly.
It's 2023, Mark.
Right, yeah, so for Wakefield, but they need
it's your year.
Yeah, that's
former Warrington captain.
I'll stick by that, but they do need to find some sort of... confidence, and they do need to find something.
They need a win quick, don't they?
Yeah.
Very quickly, Al, Lee, that's 4 wins. They've signed experience, haven't they? And that is showing this season.
Yeah, it really is. I think at the start of the year, they was probably expecting to be in a bit of a relegation battle, I suppose. I think maybe externally, perhaps not internally, but I think there was probably that expectation where if Lee survived Super League this year, they've had a good year. But look, I think they're playing really well. I think they'll be pushing for playoffs, and to have the likes of Josh Charnley in there, who's done it for Wigan on the biggest stages as well, will really help that. So But I think for me, Leo, one of those sides you need to keep a close eye on. They're performing really well. To go to Wakefield, put 32 points on and keep a nil as well is a sign of good things for them, and I think they'll definitely be there at the end of the year.
Bit of news off the pitch. The Rugby League Council, the sports decision-making body, which comprises representatives from all three professional competitions and the community game, have today voted in favour of club grading, the first recommendation from IMG, the sport's long-term strategic partner, as part of reimagining rugby league. So the grading has been voted through. Right, let's turn our attention to the international game, and England have got a new skipper.
George Williams will captain England.
Williams back, Winnett runs it in, Winnett scores! Oh, Bateman breaking through, support from Williams, Williams has got the pace, has he? Yes he has! Williams steps, puts the kick in, and it's going to be a 30th try. Ryan Hall, no this year, Williams has got the rope, gets the support on the inside, Wellesby's over for the first try in this World Cup. There they go, Williams in, Williams over, England unstoppable.
So George Williams is the new skipper for England, and Al, he has been brilliant for Warrington, and he had a brilliant World Cup, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I think it's really fitting for George to get this accolade. He's first and foremost, like you said, he's a wonderful player. I think we've seen this year, I think a large reason of why Warrington are so good this year and why they've been as dominant as he have been for the start is down to George and what he brings to that side. Obviously, as a skillfully, he's one of the best in the league. But I think he's got the marching around the field. I think what he brings off the field in terms of his leadership. He's played in the biggest of games. He's won silverware in the biggest of moments. So he knows what it takes to do this. So yeah, I think it's a great choice picking George. He's one of our senior capped players now in England. I think there's been a bit of a transition sort of since I got involved in 2017 when the likes of Sam Burgess and Sean O'Loughlin and James Graham, James Roby, that kind of old guard have kind of left now, and it feels like a new generation. I think George is the right man to lead this next team.
And what boosts it for Sean to be staying on and coaching the side?
I think it's important. I think what you want as a player is that continuity of coaches. I think swapping and changing doesn't work. I think on an international stage, to have someone like Wayne stay involved, when you speak to Sean and you speak to him what it means to him to be the England coach, that feeds down to you as players. The passion what he brings is enormous, and you want someone who's proud to be British, who wants to take that mantle with a lot of heart and passion, which he does to the front. So yeah, to have Wayne stay on board I think it's great for our national side. And again, through a period of a bit of a transition with a lot of new faces coming in, sort of young faces, to have someone like Sean Wynne to steer that ship is huge for us.
George Williams, you have a cracking season at Warrington, a really good World Cup.
Yeah, I think he's playing as good now as he has throughout his career. He's refound his club form. He was great for Wigan, great in the NRL, and he had a bit of an off year last year. But I think the World Cup really did reinvigorate him. He had a fantastic World Cup with England, and he's brought that form back with Warrington now. And I agree with Val. There's no surprise to see Warrington going well, and George is a massive reason because of that.
Well, last weekend on the Sportsman, we brought you 3 wheelchair games. We brought you a game from the Betfred Women's Super League as well. York beat St Helens. This is a home of Rugby League.
You're watching the Sportsman Rugby League.
The home of Betfred Super League Online.
Tune in to Last Tackle every Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
Yes, the home of Rugby League, the Sportsman, and we're bringing a live game for you this Sunday as well in the Betfred Challenge Cup. It's the Batley Bulldogs versus the Keighley Cougars. Coverage will start at 2:45. Kick-off is at 3 o'clock, and Alex Walmsley is going to be the co-commentator. So you're commentating in your old club, the Batley Bulldogs.
Yeah, really excited. Really excited to be going back and having a go at commentating. Something I haven't done before, something I've been itching to have a go at. So to do it at the old stomping ground up at Mount Pleasant is really exciting. I think it's going to be a great game. Having been in Batley and played in Challenge Cup matches, the opportunity to progress as far as you can, hopefully to pick up a Super League tie in the future will be massive for them and what it'll mean to that team and that club as well. Look, it's going to be a great game and we're looking forward to it.
Well, I appreciate you doing the co-commentary. And the Challenge Cup, you won it, what was it, 3 times as Warrington skipper?
3 times with Warrington, once with Leeds, but fantastic. It's got such drama and history as the Challenge Cup, and growing up before Super League era, before the Grand Final era, the Challenge Cup was the be-all and end-all of Rugby League calendar, really. So lots of fond memories. Really pleased to have got my hands on the trophy a few times, and there's magical the Challenge Cup. So it's great that it's back with us.
Yeah, back at Wembley on the 12th of August, and we're going to have a Women's Challenge Cup beforehand as well. So brilliant double header. Right, let's turn our attention to round 10 of the Betfred Super League. And on Thursday night, absolute cracker, huge game, St Helens versus Warrington Wolves. No Al, as we know, and no Paul Vaughan for Warrington. And Warrington have not beaten Saints since 2021. This is a huge game. Right, first of all, what's training been like this week then? Obviously, I know you're coming back from injury, but you've seen the lads or whatever. What's training been like in the build-up for this?
Yeah, obviously I've not been involved too much, but what I've seen and what the feel around the place is, we're excited. I think the beauty of Super League and fixtures is that they come around quick and fast, and we had a disappointing result last week, and there's no better way to sort of rectify that by going into a home tie against the form team of the year, top of the league, one of our closest rivals. So there's an excitement about the place. Obviously, there's a lot of fresh faces going to be playing this week. Some young boys who will get to experience a massive game, and I'm really excited for them. There's some young boys in that side who are going to be playing on Thursday who won't have experienced crowds, what they'll experience like on Thursday. A massive task at hand, but something we're really excited about, and really excited to see how these young boys sort of go on. And
Paul Welling's obviously Saints through and through. How's he taken to the role?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Not bad first game world champion. But...
Well, it seemed to look easy to start with, didn't it? But yeah, no, he's been brilliant. I think what I'd say about Wello is he's been a part of our successes for the last 4 years, and beyond.
It's continuity.
Absolutely, and I think he knows our systems, he knows what makes us tick, how to get us at our best, and look, he's been brilliant since coming on board. I think what I can say about Wello is I've been lucky enough to play alongside him as a player, and the way he coaches is no dissimilar. He holds the highest of standards. He expects big standards, and for us as players, that's what we need to adhere to. He held the highest of standards as a player, and he's exactly the same as a coach. But ultimately as well, he's a good person as well. He's someone we're lucky enough to have known for a long time. So yeah, he's been brilliant. Obviously, hopefully we can rectify a few things and sort a few on-field stuff out where we can get back into a bit of form and get him what he deserves, I suppose.
Live on Sky, this is a mouth-watering game, isn't it?
It is, and over the last few years, there's not many games between Saints and Warrington where you've seen they're both coming off a loss. Always massive games. It's a big derby, and I just think Warrington will probably start slight favourites at the moment, just because Saints' injury woes. But it'll be really interesting. There'll be a big crowd there, and both clubs will want to get back to winning ways. But can't wait for this one. It's proper humdinger, as they say.
What do you think Darryl Powell have said then, after the first defeat of the season? Let's be honest, against a good Wigan side, and a Wigan side that, all right, deserved it.
Yeah, I don't think he would be too disappointed. They still competed very well. Bounce of the ball, refs call, they probably could have got a result there, Warrington. And, when you're competing against the best, sometimes you do come out on the losing side. So I don't think he'll be too disappointed, as I said. And they've still got a fantastic record, 8 wins, one loss. So they'll go to Saints very, very confident. And, I know Warrington have got a few injuries, as have St Helens, but I think Darryl Powell wouldn't take much to motivate the troops. They're going to go there, and last year's grand final champions in the home turf. It don't take much motivating that. So I think Warrington will go there confident and they'll give it the best shot, I'm sure.
Cracker live on Sky, St Helens versus Warrington. Live on Sky on Friday night. Castleford versus Hull KR. And Hull KR are going great guns.
Yeah, and I think they'll be going into it favourites, to be honest. Having watched the game back from Friday night against us, I think they get a couple more boys back from suspension this week as well. So, yeah, look, they're full of confidence. They're playing really well. They're playing an attacking, exciting style of rugby, but they're backing up with the defence as well. It's going to be a tough ask for Cass, but obviously Cass at home, it's an hostile environment. The crowd really get behind the team, and I think under Andy Last, I think they've shown marks of improvement, and I think they'll be looking to this game as hopefully a match what they can get a win and start a bit of form.
Cass, Hull KR.
I just think Hull KR. I just think form and momentum.
Well.
Yeah, I just think Hull KR are going to go there and get the win.
Lee versus Leeds. Lee last beat Leeds 7th of February 1988.
Right, that's a long record, isn't it? But I think this is a great opportunity for Lee to break that hoodoo. They've been playing well home and away, and Derek has been getting the razzmatazz going there at the Lee Sports Village, and I just think even though you could argue Wakefield were very poor last weekend, to get 32 points to nil away from home will be a confidence boost, and I just think Lee. I'm going to go with the upset. I think Lee might get the victory against Leeds.
And 3 games on Sunday. Salford versus Catalans. Salford did a double over Catalans last season.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I think obviously they've started the year again really well this year. Obviously Catalan coming off the back of a loss, we'll be looking to this week as an opportunity to get back on the horse, so to speak. So I think it's a tough one to call. I think Salford at the best are one of the best teams in the competition, but look, when Catalan are at their best as well, it's I reckon it's going to be a real good game. That I wouldn't like to call it, if I'm honest.
3 o'clock Sunday, Hull versus Huddersfield. Huge game for Hull, isn't it? Home game.
It's huge. They was embarrassed the last home game against Hull KR. So I think I've spoke about Tony Smith before. He's just after improvement week on, week out. So I'm not sure they can get a win against Huddersfield, who are going particularly well. But if he does see an improvement, that'll be good enough for him. And as I say, I mentioned the building the blocks, to ultimately play themselves into some form. But I think Huddersfield will get the win. But it's I've mentioned a work in progress there at Hull FC.
And finally on Sunday, it's Wigan versus Wakefield. Bevan French on 99 career tries.
Don't get much tougher for Wakefield, does it?
No.
Obviously they're doing it tough at the minute.
I know it's probably hard for you to say, but Wigan have improved this term, haven't they?
Yeah, look, I think alongside Warrington, they've been clearly the form sides of the year. And obviously I know they're missing Jai Fields at the minute, but I think Bevan French has fitted into that slot, seamlessly. And I think the style of rugby they're playing is dangerous, attacking really well. As a typical Wigan side as well, though, they're defending well, which I think is a mark of a good side, a championship winning side. So, look, yeah, they're full of confidence at the minute. Wakefield are doing it tough, but I think Wigan's dangerous. These are the games what are probably most dangerous for Wigan now. I think if they don't approach this game with the right manner and attitude, you're coming up against a Wakefield side who are desperate, and I think that's when they're at their most dangerous. They're desperate and they need 2 points. So I'm expecting a comfortable Wigan side, but you can't fight for Wakefield, who are really, like I said, desperate.
Gents, I've really enjoyed your company. You've both got a very busy Sunday. You've got to do your prep for Batley versus Keighley.
Yep.
Enjoy it. Thanks for doing it. Really looking forward to hearing you on Co-Coms. And what are you doing Sunday?
I'm running the London Marathon on Sunday for the Motor Neuron Disease Association. So I have done a marathon before. I said never again, but I've got the old dusted the old running shoes off, and I'm going down to London and I'm going to run it. So it's training's been tough, really tough.
You're doing it for a worthy cause. What kind of time are you looking to do it in?
Well, I have cracked 4 hours before, 3:54 I got, so if I can get a PB, I'll be obviously delighted. But I'm doing the Leeds one in 3 weeks' time, which is, they brought back the Leeds Marathon, renamed it the Leeds Rob Borough Leeds Marathon, which a lot of the ex-rugby lads are doing that. So I said I'm going to do that, but I thought if I'm going to run the Leeds one, I may as well do the London one, and then I've got the miles in my legs then, so I'm doing 2 in 3 weeks. But it's going to be tough, but when you are doing it tough, you just got to think about Rob and all these sufferers of MND are going through, and puts into perspective a little bit, really.
Well said. I hope you raised loads of money for MND. Right. Good luck Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday. Good luck Sunday and enjoy it as well. Thanks for watching The Last Tackle. Don't forget that live game on Sunday, Batley versus Keighley, with Alex doing the co-commentary. See you soon.